Hello everybody. Dear students, wherever you are, hope you are fine, happy and safe. Today's video is devoted to the practice of Unit 10 under the title Environment and Ecology. Let's get started. Number 1, we will start by the vocabulary parts. Please name these seasons. We have A, in. We go to the beach. The weather, the climate is hot and sunny. Which season is this? From the pictures. B, in. It means in this season, the leaves. Here are the leaves. Flowers has leaves. Trees has leaves as well. In this season, the leaves fall from the trees. Number C, in this season, it snows. Like in Ifran or Camden, it snows in some places and rains in others. The weather is very cold. D, in, again, this season, the flowers grow. The weather is usually warm and beautiful. Warm, it's not very hot, it's not very cold. So please take few minutes before the correction. Let's correct. Number 1 is summer. In summer, we go to the beach. The weather is hot and sunny. Number B is winter. In winter, the leaves fall from the trees. C, autumn. In autumn, it snows in some places and rains in others. The weather is very cold. Then in D, spring. In spring, the flowers grow. The weather is usually warm and beautiful. Now, you can even write about your favorite season. Take your copybook and you can write about your favorite season and why. What activities you do in your favorite season. Let's move on to the next vocabulary exercise. Put the words in the correct heading. We have 4 headings. Types of pollution, causes of pollution, and finally, consequences or effects or results of pollution. We have different words. Air pollution, acid rain, deforestation, factories, noise pollution, humans, global warming, rubbish, water pollution, distinction of animals, cars, land pollution. Of course, we have seen these vocabulary in the presentation of the units. So please go back to the presentation of the units and you will find almost all definitions of the given words. So take few minutes before the correction. Let's correct. Types of pollution, we have air pollution, like the smoke, for example, given off or emitted from factories, from vehicles. It causes air pollution. Noise pollution, water pollution, rivers, seas, oceans, etc. And land pollution, throwing the rubbish in the streets causes land pollution, etc. The causes of pollution, we can talk about factories. Casablanca, for example, is full of factories which emit toxic gases. Humans, we, people, we also cause pollution. Rubbish, garbage, and cars. As for the consequences, we can talk about acid rain. Acid rain, the photo is in front of you. Deforestation is the fact of cutting the trees or cutting trees. It's called deforestation. Global warming, the phenomenon that we have talked about in details during the presentation of the unit. Distinction of animals like dinosaurs, for example. Let's move to the next exercise. We're still with vocabulary. Match the words with their definitions. Let's talk about noise pollution. What is noise pollution? Toxic waste, land pollution, acid rain, and finally recycle. Recycle the waste, for example. Let's have the definitions. Rubbish and garbage. Rain that contains dangerous chemicals from factory gases. C. Or sound pollution. This type of pollution, it's called tin or sound. Sound pollution is noise which is harmful, dangerous, hazardous to humans and animals. D. Is when man-made chemicals get into the soil and harm it. E. Poisonous, an adjective. The last one, treat something already used so that is caused or so that can be used again. We reuse something. We reuse something. So please, let's correct. Noise pollution or sound pollution is noise which is harmful to humans and animals. Toxic, poisonous. Poisonous. It contains poison which is very dangerous for our life. Waste. We can say waste, rubbish or garbage, things that can't be used anymore, and we threw it in a waste basket once at home, for example. And land pollution, we are talking about when man-made chemicals get into the soil and harm it. Acid rain, it's the rain that contains dangerous chemicals from factory gases. So the factories emits the smoke. So when it rains with water or rains is mixed to these toxic gases and it makes what we call acid rain. And the last one, to recycle or reuse or retreat is to treat something already used so that it can be used again another time. I hope everything is clear so far. Now let's move on to the grammar lesson. Our grammar lesson today is the past continuous. So today we will have two grammar lessons. The first one is the past continuous. Let's deal with exercise number 1. Choose the correct verb from the list and put it in the past continuous. We have the verb drink, play, wash, cook, sing, write, watch, water, and hide. As you see, this list of verbs contain both forms, regular and irregular. Regular form, the verb plus ed, and the irregular should go back to the irregular verb list. Number 1, when I saw him, he, some milk. You, then football when you broke your leg. 3. Steve, then TV when the lights went out. 4. I, then the flowers when you came in. 5. Mom, then when someone knocked at the door. And number 6. John and Jim, then behind a tree when they were playing hide and seek. Hide and seek. What we all call cache-cache. Hide and seek. Let's start the correction. Number 1. When I saw him, he was drinking some milk. A short action interrupted a long action. Okay? When I saw him, it's a short. We use past simple. He was drinking, it's a long action. Is the idea clear? Again, we're just reviewing what we've done in the presentation of the lesson. Number 2, you were playing long action football when you broke your leg. The action of broken my leg, it's short, whereas the action of playing is long. So the long action takes past continuous and the short action takes past simple. Number 3 is the same. Steve was watching TV when the lights went out. The light cat went out. Number 4, I was watering, to water. We water tree, we water flowers. I was watering the flowers when you came in, when you arrived, when you showed up. Number 5, Mom was cooking when someone knocked at the door. It means when someone knocked at the door, my mom was in the action of cooking. So cooking is a long action. Knocking at the door is a short one. 6. John and Jim were hiding behind a tree when they were playing hide and seek. And here is a review of the rules in front of you. Now, let's move on to the second exercise. Put the verbs in the correct form. Either you use past continuous or past simple. Number 1, they then fix the computer when then open the door. 2, Mary break her leg while she then skates. 3, when I then see Jim at the disco, he then to the DJ. Number 4, then watch a film on TV when the electricity then go out. Number 5, when I then arrive, the teacher then write the summary. Let's correct. Number 1, they were fixing. Action of fixing is a long action. They were fixing the computer when I opened the door. So the action of opened is short and action of fixing is long. And please, this rule will be applied for the rest and for the other examples. Did Mary break her leg while she was skating? Did Mary, so did plus subject plus the verb. This is simple past because the action of breaking is a short action, whereas the action of skating is a long one. Let's repeat. Did Mary break her leg while she was skating? Maybe yes she was or no she wasn't. Number 3. When I saw Jim at the disco, he was not taking or he was not talking to the DJ. Let's repeat. When I saw Jim at the disco, he was not talking to the DJ. Number 4, I was watching a film on TV when the electricity went out. Number 5, when I arrived, the teacher was writing the summary. Now, let's move on to a new grammar lesson. This lesson is modals or modal verbs. During the presentation of the lesson, we presented modals, musts, mustn'ts, have to, and don't have to or needn't. The focus of this lesson is mainly to express obligation or prohibition or lack of necessity. Let's get started. Complete with must or mustn't. Must, obligation. Mustn't is prohibition, when you are not allowed to do something. Cars mustn't pass on red lights. Students mustn't cheat in exams. Muslims must fast in Ramadan. We must respect each other, etc. Number 1, we can recycle paper, plastic and glass. 2, we can cut down trees. 3, we can pollute the air. 4, we can use bicycles more than cars. 5, we can pour chemicals in rivers. 6, we can drop trash in our streets. Finally, 7, we can protect animals in danger. Please take a few minutes before we start the correction. Let's correct. Number 1, we must. We are obliged. We must recycle paper, plastic and glass. For environmental reasons, for economic reasons, we must. It's become an obligation for us to recycle, to reuse paper, plastic and glass. Number 2, we mustn't cut down trees. We should avoid, because it causes deforestation, and we all know the importance of trees in our life. Forests are the lungs of our cities and villages and countrysides and so on. Number 3, we mustn't pollute the air. Because if we pollute the air, it will be dangerous for our health. Number 4, we must use bicycles more than cars. Like in the Netherlands, people are using bicycles more than they are using cars. Why? Simply because cars are polluting our environment. Or cars pollute our environment. Number 5, we mustn't pour chemicals in the river. Why? We mustn't pour chemicals in rivers because simply they pollute our rivers and they become poisoned, which may harm the fish and sea life. Number 6, we mustn't drop trash in our streets. Trash, rubbish. You're eating a biscuit and you're throwing the rubbish in the street. Please, there are trash bins. There are waste baskets we can use to throw these rubbish or trash. And finally, we must protect animals in danger, etc. Let's move on to the next exercise. Complete with must, mustn't, don't or doesn't have to. We have already been exposed to must and mustn't. Now we have don't or doesn't have to. When you are not obliged, when it is unnecessary to do an action. But if you do it, there is no harm. Number 1, you can have a passport if you want to travel abroad. 2, students can arrive late to school. 3, my mother tends to wake up early. She doesn't work. 4. You don't have a ticket with your name on or you can't travel. 5. There are lots of buses, so you can drive to the airport. And the last one, number 6, you can leave your bags with someone you don't know. So let's correct after a few minutes. Number 1, you must have a passport if you want to travel. You can't travel abroad without a passport. 2, students mustn't arrive late to school. There is a typing mistake. Students mustn't arrive late to school. We will correct this mistake. Number 3, my mother doesn't have to wake up early. She doesn't work. My mother doesn't have to wake up early. She doesn't work. Number 4, you must have a ticket. You are obliged to have a ticket with your name on or you can't travel. Then, number 5, there are lots of buses, so you don't need to drive to the airport, and since there are buses that can take you there. Number 6, you mustn't leave your bags with someone you don't know. The resources we use in this video are Visa to the World, ESL Printables, and Google. Thank you for your attention and goodbye.